I just said, is that it? He goes, yep, that's it. So that's it. Just hung him up, the old fella. He's the best leader I've seen, one of the toughest players I've seen. He's a warrior, that's for sure. Really intelligent player, though.
Listen, we need to keep squeezing up. Dimmer's going back to get bets with that big gap. Keep squeezing, pushing us up.
He sees the game as good as anyone I know. Probably Sam Mitchell's his only equal. He's a bit of a rascal sometimes, but mostly he's good. He's a giver of his time and his knowledge. There's no doubt that the development of our team has been accelerated by his presence, and he's been unbelievable for us. He's one of the all-time greats. More than anything, he's a good friend.
Chris Fagan, how he farewelled Luke Hodge. He's hung him up, the old fella. It was quite a nice line, wasn't it?
Very nice.
In the stands watching, in fact, in the room when that was being said, were two likely lads who I'm told are the hottest ticket on the Sportsman's Night circuit now. We've had to go to Mornington to find them. They're at the Publican. They are the billing. Jordan Lewis, Jared Ruffin, welcome back to AFL 360.
G'day, boys. Where else would you rather be?
So this has developed very quickly. It's just a nice little side earner for you.
Well, Robbo, you might join us on the next one.
Yeah, I will. If I can get a same shirt. Have you got a company shirt that you're both wearing?
Well, every other shirt that I had at home needed ironing, so usually when I come into Fox, beautiful Ellie irons my shirts, but there was no one there to do it tonight.
Hey, seriously, guys, we're here to talk about Hodgie, 340-odd games. You guys went up on the weekend. What did it mean to you, Ruffy, to get up there for Hodgie's last game?
Well, we weren't planning that it was going to be his last game, but I'd spoken with Jordan the week before and also Birch, and we said that, you know, it would be nice that if we were there, if it were to be his last game, and I think we'd planned with Fags and Birch also that they knew that we were coming up, and it was good to be there. Obviously, we would have liked that they won and we'd be back in Melbourne on Saturday night, but to be there for his last game was obviously something special. And of course, he's been, you know, he came to mind when I played the Gold Coast, and so was George. So to be there for everyone's last game, it's been, you know, very, very nice.
It's funny, Geordie, people look at it and go, oh, what did you do? What did you do? Did you go out? Did you drink all night? What did you do? Because I understand that you guys just sat out in the coach's room and had a few beers.
Yeah, we did. I suppose when the game finished, we went down to the rooms and it felt a little bit awkward. I mean, we were there and all the Brisbane Lions players were clearly disappointed, so we tried to hide for a fair portion of the time in the rooms, but then Fags called us into the team meeting and he addressed the players after the game, and then everyone sort of dispersed, and it was just Ruffy and I, Grant Birchall and Fags just sort of sitting in the room, and we shared a quiet beer, so it was a really unique sort of experience. And then I suppose post that, we went back to Hodgie's. Once all the young boys went out on the town, we went back to Hodgie's and had a couple of glasses of red, and that sort of called it a night.
Has he made the right decision, Ruffy? Because he did look like he had footy left in him. Has he gone out with a little bit in the tank?
Well, probably everyone would have thought that 2 years ago, that he was going out with something left in the tank. But I think you saw the impact that he had at Brisbane, and now, you know, to be able to finish the way he did with two ripping finals, I thought, and then now he'll probably help them out in a different way. It doesn't have to be on field now. He can let his work with what he's done, just leave it up to the others now, and hopefully that they grab it with both hands and can take it. We saw after the game that they were obviously very disappointed, but I think that'll drive them moving forward, that's for sure.
Geordie, you know what I think of Hodgie? And that's just a person looking at him. Describe him as a player. Describe running out behind him. Describe him doing what he did on the grand final days. I know it's a team effort, but we are talking Luke Hodgie.
Yeah, I understand that. And as soon as you started to ask that question, you get goosebumps just because you realise how important and how privileged you were, I suppose, to run out with him on a week-to-week basis. And I've never seen anyone that I've come into contact with give so much to a team. And especially being captain, you feel like sometimes you probably need to do a little bit too much, but he's probably been the player that Ruffy and I have played with that has given more than he's received. And, you know, I couldn't respect the man anymore, and I suppose if you were to choose a side, he'd be the number one player that I would choose. And Campbell Brown said it well the other day. He said players generally judge other players on premierships and dealings with them, and Luke Hodge is probably the best player that I've come into contact with, and just his ability to give so much back to the team in big and important games. He was always a performer.
I love it when people, Ruffy, describe people as, oh, he's a bit of a lad, and everyone sort of puts a bit of a smile on because you think, oh, yeah, what's a bit of a lad? Describe bit of a lad in Hodgie.
Cola.
Yeah, well, you've got three country boys when you consider us two and him. I guess, he's a lad in terms of he's the first bloke you want to ring when you get together and hang out because you have such good times with him. So, in terms of a lad, he's just the perfect person you'd love to spend your time with and have fun with, even though he does sometimes fall asleep a little bit earlier than most of us.
He can't drink anymore. I'll tell you what, we're in the loudest nightclub in LA, the loudest nightclub in LA last year, and he was asleep on the couch in the middle of the dance floor. I've never seen anyone in my time be able to do that.
You've played with, the two of you have had fine careers, which we have documented. We think you'll both be Hall of Famers. We think you've played with two legends, Lance Franklin and Luke Hodge. For all that you've achieved, do you consider yourselves blessed to have played with two of the greats, two men who in 20 years' time will be legends of our game?
Yeah, for sure, and I reckon you could almost add Sean Burgoyne as a legend in there as well. So I think over our time we've been lucky enough to play with probably 8 or 9 Hall of Famers when we add them all up. You got Mitchell, Rioli, who were coached by Clarkson. You could throw Crawford in there. So, but to see those blokes still do it currently, Hodge, Franklin, and Burgoyne, I think it's something pretty special that you can say you, one, played with them, but two, you're sitting back and still watching them to this day.
You have your own finality. You've got to deal with your own career coming to an end, both of you guys, and we've seen it this year. You've both been on our show. When you see a great like Hodge go, does it further close the door on this absolutely wonderful era? As you said, Burgoyne's still going, Birch may still go around, Cyril's gone, Mitchell's gone, you two are gone, now Hodgie's gone. Is there a real sort of sense of collective sadness that it really is coming to an end, like over?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you're in your playing days and you're really in the moment, but then once you get to the back end of your career and you really tap into players and past players, and that's probably the thing that excites us most, to be able to sit back and have a beer with guys who are now retired and even guys who have come before us from Hawthorn who have enjoyed so much success, to tap into that market, I suppose, that you don't really tap into when you're a current day player. But for us to be able to sit back and enjoy beer with the guys that we went along our career with and reminisce, because you don't get to do that a hell of a lot when you're playing. But certainly now that Hodgie's done, there's only a few guys left that were sort of teammates of ours and played a majority of our career with, so being Sean and Grant. And I suppose once they finish, we'll have to find other players to probably look at their career and marvel at the stuff that they do.
Well, we look forward to the reviews tonight out of Mornington. Go well, give your A material, get those reviews going early, and thanks for joining us again on 360.
We might use that joke that you used, Robbo, on Jared. You haven't told him yet?
No, I haven't.
Right. Jared Ruffin and Jordan Lewis.